The reason I want to pick up the book that I did pick up was because I saw a tweet that was basically like, the smut in it is good. And so all my inhibitions went away and I was like, maybe we should pick her up. Alright, hey guys, it's Jocelyn and welcome back to my channel, Jocelyn Reads. So I am back home for spring break. As you can tell by my bookshelves, they haven't been in my videos for a while. So now that I'm home from spring break, I decided that I wanted to take advantage of my library near my house. Now I hadn't been to that library in probably like over a year because I just felt like my fine was enormous and I was embarrassed and I didn't want to go pay that fine. So I avoided it. But I want to start supporting my local library again, so I decided to suck it up, stop being a baby, and go see how much my fine was so I could pay it and so I could start checking out books more. Because now I'm about to say that I'm on a book buying ban. That book buying ban is non-existent because I've been buying books since January. But I've been like utilizing thrift books and stuff like that, so trying to spend less money. But I just need to stop buying books in general because I have all these books and I need to start reading them. Like especially this cart right here. Like nothing on this cart has been read by me, and that's just a shame. Just like I want to use my library, so when I get excited about a book that I hear about, I don't just buy it straight off the bat. I just go and read it from my library first, which is good because I'm supporting my local library and I'm not spending money. So I took a trip to my library. You'll see it in my vlog that's coming up on, I think I'm going to post it maybe Monday or Saturday. But I ended up picking out 4 books, so I wanted to kind of haul them on my channel and then do a try a chapter because I picked out 4 books and I'm actually really excited for all 4 of them, so I don't know which one I want to start first. So I think I just wanted to read a couple chapters with you guys and give you my thoughts and kind of pick which book that I was vibing the most with out of the first couple chapters. So I'm actually pretty excited. The first book that I picked up, I've been wanting to read since I heard Heather from Aphrodite Reads talk about this book because she makes it sound so good. The thing that she said the most that made me want to pick up this book was basically that it's for Darkling stans who didn't get what they wanted out of Shadow and Bone. She said to go to this series. So after that I said bet, and I had my eyes on it and I wanted to buy it, but I checked my library and they had it, so I got it from there. And it is The 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin. And y'all, I'm excited because if you've read the Shadow and Bone or the Grisha trilogy, you know that mistakes were made. And Leigh Bardugo did not end it with the ship that it should have been ended with, but it's okay. I forgive her. I still love her. I still have this collector's edition of Six of Crows. She's still one of my faves, but we all know mistakes were made. So I'm excited to go into this because it's also adult. So this is an adult Darkling and Alina kind of situation from what Heather has said. It's probably way more than that. It's like way more complicated, but that's what initially made me want to pick it up. The synopsis is very vague, but what I got from it is basically that this is a fantasy book centering around a girl whose mother dies mysteriously. So obviously it has something to do with magic probably in the end. And once her mother dies, she is summoned to this majestic city in the sky. Do I know much about the city or the magic system in that sense yet? No, but she's summoned to this majestic city in the sky, and once she gets there, she is supposedly the heiress to like the king or something. And from there the synopsis gets very vague and it's just basically like there's this like intrigue and stuff like that that goes on once she gets there. I don't even know who the Darkling is and how he relates to her in this book, but I'm excited to just go ahead and try it, and I'm sure I'll get some type of idea maybe in the first couple chapters, and you guys will kind of find out with me so I can give you more than that. But that's basically all the synopsis gave me. Alright, and the next book that I picked up was primarily because of Carly from Carly's Books and this tweet that I saw. So I know Carly raves about this book and this is one of her favorite series, and I've had my eye on it because of her, but the only thing that has stopped me from picking it up is one of the other books that I read from this author that I did not like at all. It was like probably like my first 2-star read of 2019, and I kind of was like, maybe I don't really like this author because I just felt like the book was that bad. And then the other reason I wanted to pick it up, this book specifically, not the one I was just talking about, the reason I wanted to pick up the book that I did pick up was because I saw a tweet that was basically like, the smut in it is good. And so all my inhibitions went away and I was like, maybe we should pick her up. So I did. Okay, so I picked up Fury Born by Claire Legrand. The other book that I read by Claire Legrand that I hated was Saw Kill Girls, and maybe horror thriller type of things are just not her thing, and I should give her another try with this one because I really have heard a lot of good things about this one. But the horror and Saw Kill Girls and the thrill and the plot, it was all a no for me. I did not like any of the characters, didn't like the plot. It was just no. But we're not talking about Saw Kill Girls, we're talking about Fury Born. This synopsis is very confusing. I feel like I should have watched a video on what this book is actually about before because I just read the synopsis 3 times and I'm still confused. So basically I'm pretty sure this book follows 2 separate timelines and 2 different women from each timeline. So the first timeline is 1,000 years before the other one, and it follows a woman who is saving her best friend in some way. When she saves her best friend, she reveals that she has magic, which is a big deal in this society, I guess, because the only people who should have magic are queens and like royalty and things like that. So after revealing that she does have magic, she is sent on this, not necessarily a quest, but she has this mission to perform like 7 different types of magic to prove that she is some type of royalty. Then the second timeline is 1,000 years later, and this woman is a bounty hunter, and she is having some type of conflict with the kingdom that the first woman was from, and she is a bounty hunter because she wants to be violent towards that kingdom because of some conflict that happened in the past. But somehow in this timeline, her mother disappears magically, of course, just like the other book. These books are all the same, but her mother magically disappears and she has to go on this quest to kind of figure out what happens to her. Okay, so the next book that I picked up from the library was If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio, and I've heard nothing but good things about this one. Like, I literally haven't heard one person say anything bad about this. This one is basically about 7 actors, like Shakespearean actors, and it starts off with one of them being released from jail. When he's released from jail, there's someone waiting for him when he comes out who expects him to tell him all about the story that put him in jail. And this story that put him in jail basically like involves the actors that he was friends with before, and there was some type of violence that occurred between all of them, and somehow he is supposed to prove that they're all innocent. Okay, and the last book that I got from my library for this round is Circe by Madeline Miller. This book basically follows the daughter of the god of sun, I'm pretty sure, but I don't think it said Zeus. I think it said Helios, but I don't know if Helios and Zeus are the same person. I'm not that into mythology. Like, all of my knowledge comes from the Percy Jackson series and a little bit of the what is it, the Lost Hero series. I don't know, I forgot the official name, so I don't have that much knowledge. So I don't know if Helios and Zeus are the same person or not. But anyway, it follows her, and this book is basically about how her powers that she has is some type of witchcraft, which kind of puts her on the outskirts of her community, and I think she's banished by Zeus because of her witchcrafty powers. And I think it just follows her struggles from there. But we're gonna just hop right into the try chapter part, and you guys can see what I think of each one's first couple chapters. I think I'm gonna read 2 chapters for each book and see which one I like the most. Okay, I have to look at everything. Okay, sorry, my dog's on my lap because he's literally the most spoiled thing, and he's licking his paws. So hopefully that noise isn't annoying. But I finished the first chapter of the 100,000 Kingdoms, and I really like it because I just got hit with an aspect of the book that I didn't know was even in here, and if she would have put that in the synopsis, I would have been even more intrigued. So we have a contest kind of aspect to this book, and if you've heard me talk about Red Rising or anything like that, then you know I freaking love like Hunger Games-esque contests and things like that, where the main character basically just has to become the best version of themselves to survive. But the synopsis is literally just the first chapter and not even everything in the first chapter. So the book starts out with her going to this city in the sky and meeting her grandfather, and when she meets her grandfather, he tells her that she is going to be an heir, but she's not just immediately the heir. She has to fight for her position basically against her cousins. Once she gets there, that's kind of just like thrown at her because she didn't know that that was going to happen. She thought she was just coming there to live, when in reality she's coming there to fight for her life. If she doesn't become the heir, then she will die. There is a fight to the death, and she's being put in this position because her grandfather in a way is punishing her mother who passed away, because her mother left her kingdom in order to marry someone that I guess obviously wasn't a part of their kingdom, because her grandfather calls him a savage. So in order to kind of get revenge on her mother and fulfill her mother's duty, she has to endure this fight to become the heir. And that's all I know so far, but I'm really excited now because I love any type of competition aspect in a book, especially fantasy, where it's like you're fighting for your life. And yeah, that just makes me even more intrigued in this book, and I'm excited to read the next chapter really quickly. Okay, so I just finished the second chapter, and I really want to go into the third because I'm so confused. So, not in a bad way, in a good way, because it left off on a cliffhanger, and now I'm really intrigued and I want to see what happens next. So basically in the second chapter, we get a little bit of more information about this kingdom that her grandfather lives in and their customs and the way that they live, as well as getting to know about her family members that she's going to have to fight against to become the heir, as well as getting to know just about her family in general that live there. I know it's only the second chapter, but I kind of don't want to spoil it because I liked going into that not knowing that that was going to happen, and I'm still a bit confused, so I feel like I'm just going to make you guys confused. But something really interesting just happened at the end of the second chapter, to the point where now she's suddenly in danger, and I'm confused as to why and what exactly is going on. But obviously I have to read the third chapter to figure out what it is, but I'm going to stop there. But this one is really high on my list to continue. because now what has been brought into there was aspects of gods as well. Kind of like in Strange the Dreamer, I'm a bit reminded of those gods, and I'm kind of interested to figure out what the gods are. Obviously they're gods, but like the role that the gods have in this world and in this book kind of, it's really reminding me of Strange the Dreamer in a way, and I really loved Strange the Dreamer, so I really want to keep reading this, but I can't. So I'm going to go on to the next book. Now we're going on to the next book, If We Were Villains, and I'm going to read 2 chapters of this. Okay, so I just looked at this book, and this book actually doesn't have chapters, it has scenes, so I'm gonna go by scenes. And it also has a prologue, but the last book also had a type of prologue. It was 1 page, and I read that. So I'm gonna read the prologue, scene 1, and scene 2, and all of that together is 18 pages. Okay, I understand a bit more now. I just finished the prologue of If We Were Villains, and okay, it makes a bit more sense. I was wondering how, when he got out, why there was a detective there asking him questions about what he was in for, because I'm like, obviously double jeopardy's a thing, so he can't go back to jail for exactly what they charged him with. I just felt like it was kind of shady for him to be telling police what actually happened after he got out of jail. But what just happened was, when he got out of jail, the detective that originally put him in jail was waiting for him, and he was just kind of like, ew, why is he here? And the detective lets him know that he is resigning, that the detective is resigning, and he wants to know what happened, basically, because he feels like he doesn't want to go another 10 years wondering what happened, because obviously he still doesn't know. Our main character, Oliver, was charged with whatever crime and put into jail, but he never confessed to anything, and the situation that whatever put him in jail is still very ambiguous. So the detective lets him know that he's resigning, and he wants to know what happened, because he's not going to be able to put him in jail or whatever, because he's not going to be working as a detective. There's also double jeopardy, he's already out, but the detective is so curious, he doesn't want to go another 10 years wondering what happened with his case. So they're about to leave the jail, and Oliver, I guess, is going to tell him what exactly happened. Look at this. He's like staring in my eyes. So pretentious. This book is so pretentious, but like not in a way that's annoying me. Like the characters are all like quoting, like, I don't even know half of the quotes, but like quoting like theater things at each other. Like I know some of them was Julius Caesar, and basically the way the book is set up is he's not directly just like telling the detective everything that happened. Scene 1 is where it's going back in time to where they're actually auditioning for the play that I guess everything went down in. So basically it's going back to them before they even audition, and they're kind of talking about the audition and how things are gonna go, and it's kind of this little friendship dynamic where they're all so pretentious, like they're quoting different plays and things to each other. They quoted Caesar and things like that, and I'm just like, they're so pretentious, but I actually love the little dynamic that they have going on right now. This is actually very enjoyable so far. Alright, so I just finished these first 2 acts of If We Were Villains, and I really like this. This one, okay, to compare the 2 that I just read, 100,000 Kingdoms and If We Were Villains, this one was easier to get through, because this one throws a lot of, obviously they're different genres. This is fantasy and this is more of an adult mystery. So this one throws a lot of world building and things at you in the beginning that you don't quite get. So it took me a little bit longer to get through to make sure I was really like paying attention to everything about the world and the politics and things like this, whereas this one is just like reading a contemporary. There's no world to get used to, no different creatures or things like that. You're just reading about these college kids about to audition for this play that they all want to get to, and you're kind of getting to know them as a friend group as well as just different people. So I really like this because you guys know I love characters, so I love any type of found like family group of people, and I think that's what these 7 actors are going to end up being. They're going to be this found family, and they each all have these, like, I obviously don't know them as distinct, like really well fleshed out personalities yet, but I can see that this is where it's going to go. They each have this one character trait that defines them. It kind of lists them out in the beginning, and I'm really excited to see them as a friend group interacting and things like that, because I've already seen it in the first scene, and it's really nice. I love seeing good friendship dynamics where they're like laughing and picking at each other and joking. I got that in the first scene, and I really liked it. And then in scene 2 you get to know the main character Oliver and kind of his best friend and their dynamic, and I'm already loving that as well. And yeah, I had to stop right before Oliver did his audition, so again both of these kind of left me on a cliffhanger for the 3rd chapter, so I want to continue reading this one too. And as of like readability, I think this one was way more readable, so kind of this one is ahead of this one right now. So next up, I picked up Circe by Madeline Miller. We're gonna go ahead and read the first 2 chapters of this. Hopefully it's not long. Okay, so I remember I was questioning about like how her father was the god of sun, but he wasn't Zeus. Her father's a Titan. I don't know exactly what the difference is. Like I said, I'm not that informed on this. She's talking about her father and her uncle, and she says, yet they were both Titans and preferred each other's company to those now squeaking gods upon Olympus. So they're definitely different. Hey, wait, I did know this. I think, damn, can I get through the first page? Yeah, I did know this. I think Titans came before gods. Am I right there? I think I'm right. Alright, so I just finished the first chapter of Circe, and I like this one too. Like, this one's really good. In the first chapter, it basically starts off with Circe being born, and then it follows her life up to her sibling. Ooh, sorry about that, my dog hit the tripod. It follows her life up to her sisters being born as well as her other siblings, and her dad prophesies for each of his children as they're born, and Circe is given the worst prophecy. She's told that she is prophesied to marry a prince, which is immortal, which just makes it bad for her, whereas her siblings, I think one was prophesied to marry a son of Zeus, and the other was prophesied to, I don't even remember, but something better than Circe. So basically she's treated horribly by her mom, and she's also treated terribly by her siblings and half siblings from her dad. Basically the only person that she finds like comfort in is her dad, and she follows her dad around a lot, and like she's always close to her dad, and he treats her better than her other siblings, but he doesn't really say anything when her mother or her siblings treat her bad. So it's just very interesting in that aspect. I really like the writing style, and I like the way that Titans and all these prophecies, and her mother's a nymph, and how all of them are talked about. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I'm gonna go ahead and read chapter 2. I just finished the second chapter of Circe, and it was really well written. This chapter basically followed one of Circe's uncles, another Titan, who was sent to be punished by the Fury by Zeus because he had given man fire, which led to civilization, and Zeus didn't want them to have civilization, so it led to him being punished. And Circe herself witnessed the entire punishment as well as her family. Under the punishment, she was the last one standing there, and she ended up helping the god or the Titan Prometheus that was punished, and he told her a little bit about humans. And just seeing a god in pain kind of awakened some thought in herself. She had never experienced pain, and how she had never experienced humans in a way. And it just has Circe questioning who she is and what she knows really. And it's actually very interesting. It's very well written, and I really like this one. So out of the 3 that I've read, I think Circe, it keeps becoming the one that I read the most recently. I don't know if that's a thing. I think Circe was actually my favorite because I liked If We Were Villains more than 100,000 Kingdoms in the first couple chapters, because I was able to understand this more readily, and it was an easier read, and it was also entertaining. But now I like Circe better because it's kind of a mix of them both. I get the fantastical elements that I really like, and it's also easily readable, like If We Were Villains, in the sense that I'm not having to understand a whole nother world because I'm already familiar with gods and titans and things like that. Like, I'm not the most informed on them, but I am informed in a way that it's not like me learning something completely new. Now I'm on to my last book. I don't even know how long this has taken me, but it's actually not that hard to read through the first 2 chapters pretty quickly. So I'm on to my last book. Did I say call this Circe? I'm on to my last book, Furyborn. I think in order to read around the same amount of pages as my first 3 books that I read, I think I'm going to read the prologue and the first chapter instead of the prologue and the first 2 chapters, because the prologue in the first chapter is 26 pages. So I think that's like around what I've been reading for the other ones. So I'm going to go ahead and get to that. Okay, so I just finished the prologue in the first chapter of Furyborn. Like I said, that was 26 pages. It was okay. I'm feeling very typical YA fantasy vibes, to be honest. All of those other ones that I read, they were all something new, something that I hadn't really read before. But this one is definitely something that I have read before, but that's not to say that it's not good. It's just very familiar. So basically, this book starts off with the prologue, and in the prologue, you follow 3 different characters: a young boy, a queen, and the young boy's father. And all 3 of them seem to be scared of this angel. This angel is inside of the boy's father's head in the beginning, and somehow the angel finds out that the boy and his father are half angel, half human. So kind of like shadow hunters, to be honest. I don't know, they're all kind of lining up. So in all this commotion and being scared of the angel, the queen passes her daughter on to the young boy and basically tells him to get away with her daughter. Up with the boy somewhat teleporting. I don't know if that's exactly what he does, but he somewhat teleports with the child, the princess, and that is the first prologue. And then the first chapter follows the queen when she's younger, 2 years in the past. It just kind of talks about her struggles of childhood, and in this sense it kind of reminded me of Avatar because it's talking about 4 different types of magic, and the queen is someone who can control all these magics. So do you know what I mean when I say that there's all these different YA tropes all coming together in this one book? So the queen is like the Avatar, basically. So of all the books, this is the one that I felt the least compelled to like continue reading. Like after I read the first 2 chapters, I wasn't like, I need to know what happens next. So out of all 4 books, I think Fury Born would end up last on the one that I want to read first. And that doesn't mean I don't want to read it. I'm gonna read all of these books, but this is the one that I would want to get to last, I think. So to rank the other ones, I would say the one that I would want to finish third to last, or start third, is The 100,000 Kingdoms. But I'm actually still really intrigued by this book, so that doesn't mean it's the worst out of all of these. That's just the one out of my little reading session right now. This is the one that kind of ended up third. So the one that ended up second was If We Were Villains by ML Rio. Really enjoyed this and where it's going. I kind of want to read all these next, so kind of crazy. So this is the second one, and my very first one that I would want to read right now out of all of them is Circe by Madeline Miller, because this is just so good. Love the writing style. I can already tell she's such a talented author. Yeah, none of these I would return to the library without reading them, actually. So thank you guys for watching. Oh, and I completely forgot to say at the beginning of the video, sorry, if you're not even here, then you won't even hear it, but for all you guys who stuck around to the end of the video, I also wanted to say thank you guys for 1K subscribers. I just checked and saw that I hit 1K, and that's actually so exciting, and I'm just grateful for every single one of you guys who watch my videos and, you know, keep up with me and things like that. And I just never thought I would hit 1K, so thank you so much, and thank you for supporting my channel. Like, comment, subscribe, all those things down below, and I should have a giveaway coming up hopefully in my next video or the one after that. Just keep a lookout for that, because I definitely want to do a giveaway and give back to my subscribers for 1K. I probably will end up doing it on Twitter, but yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all those things down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.